Have you ever wondered how a tiny island with almost no natural resources became one of the richest countries in the world? No oil, no gold, no vast farmland. And yet today, Singapore is known as one of the most successful economies on earth. Its citizens enjoy a high standard of living, modern infrastructure, world-class healthcare, and one of the safest environments in the world. But how did this happen? How did a small island nation with limited resources achieve what many larger countries could not? The answer lies in a series of bold decisions that changed the country's future forever. When Singapore became independent in 1965, the situation was far from ideal. The country was small, crowded, and struggling economically. Unemployment was high, housing was limited, and many people were uncertain about what the future would bring. Many experts believed Singapore would face enormous challenges surviving on its own. Unlike countries blessed with oil, minerals, or vast agricultural land, Singapore had very few natural resources. At first glance, success seemed unlikely. But Singapore's leaders saw things differently. They understood a simple but powerful truth. If the country could not rely on natural resources, it would have to rely on human resources. Instead of focusing on what they lacked, they focused on what they could build. One of the most important people behind this vision was Lee Kuan Yew. As Singapore's first prime minister, he believed that discipline, education, and long-term planning were essential for national success. His leadership would help transform Singapore from a struggling island into a global economic powerhouse. One of the biggest obstacles facing many developing nations is corruption. Corruption discourages investment, weakens institutions, and slows economic growth. Singapore decided to take a different path. The government introduced strict anti-corruption measures and enforced them consistently. Public officials were expected to maintain high standards of integrity. Businesses began to trust the system. Investors felt more confident bringing their money into the country. Over time, Singapore developed a reputation for stability, transparency, and efficiency. These qualities became major advantages in attracting international businesses. As confidence in Singapore grew, more companies became interested in investing there. New jobs were created. The economy slowly began to expand. The country's leaders understood that economic growth would not happen overnight. They focused on long-term goals rather than short-term popularity. This patient approach would eventually pay off in a big way. Many countries have natural resources, but not every country has strong institutions. Singapore's leaders believed that good governance could become the country's most valuable asset, and history would prove them right. Before we continue, if you believe strong leadership and good planning can change a country's future, comment YES below. Now, let's look at the next major reason behind Singapore's incredible success. One of Singapore's greatest advantages was its location. Situated along some of the busiest shipping routes in the world, Singapore had the potential to become a major center for global trade. The government invested heavily in ports, logistics, and transportation infrastructure. These investments helped transform Singapore into one of the world's busiest trading hubs. Today, thousands of ships pass through Singapore every year. Goods from Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas move through its ports before reaching destinations around the world. Trade became one of the foundations of Singapore's economic success. But trade alone was not enough. Singapore also invested heavily in education. The country's leaders understood that a skilled workforce would be essential for future growth. Schools focused strongly on mathematics, science, engineering, and technology. Students were encouraged to develop practical skills that matched the needs of modern industries. Universities worked closely with businesses to prepare graduates for the workforce. As a result, Singapore developed one of the most educated populations in the world. Companies looking for talented workers found exactly what they needed. This attracted even more foreign investment. International corporations established offices and regional headquarters in Singapore. Jobs increased. Salaries improved. Living standards rose. Over time, Singapore expanded beyond manufacturing and trade. It became a major financial center. Banks, investment firms, and multinational corporations chose Singapore as a base for their operations. Its financial district became a symbol of the country's remarkable transformation. At the same time, Singapore continued investing in public infrastructure. Modern transportation systems, efficient public services, high-quality housing, and clean urban planning improved life for millions of people. These improvements helped make Singapore one of the most attractive places in the world for both businesses and residents. Of course, no country is perfect. Singapore still faces challenges, including high living costs and ongoing debates about certain policies. However, few people can deny the extraordinary progress the country has achieved over the past several decades. From a struggling island nation to a global leader in trade, finance, and innovation, Singapore's journey remains one of the most remarkable economic success stories in modern history. Its story teaches an important lesson. Natural resources alone do not determine a nation's future. Vision, education, discipline, and long-term planning can be even more valuable. Singapore proved that size does not define success. Sometimes, a country's greatest resource is its people. If Singapore's transformation surprised you, comment WOW below. And tell us, which country should we cover in our next documentary? Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories about countries, economies, technology, and the future. Thanks for watching.